Greetings RC fans, Sharky here and welcome back to Wrenching on the Bench episode 5. It's been a while. The last one was March of 2021. We're now in February of 2022. Wrenching on the bench is not something I'm great at. Wrenching is the one bit of the hobby that I struggle with. Anyway, I got my coffee. And before we get the bits out that we're working on, I thought I'd show you this new stand that's arrived to help me do my overhead filming. So this is going to be just one of the segments we're dealing with today. There's also a bit about the phone case. There is a bit about tyres for Lil Blue. And then I'm going to be working on the FTX Ravine and the FTX Mauler. If you haven't already liked, commented, subscribed, please do so. I know I've just turned this sideways, which is going to make it a little bit weird. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Greetings, fans of the channel. This is probably going to go up on Wrenching on the Bench, so I'll say greetings, RC fans. Sharky here. And welcome back to Wrenching on the Bench. What's this in front of you? Well, this is the phone case that I put onto my phone for when I'm recording outdoors to protect the phone. And why is that on Wrenching on the Bench? Well, I did one attempt, but I managed to glue it down to the thing I was doing it on. I've taken some foam, sorry, my lunch in the background there, that I had about, some of this foam. And I have glued some over this area of the case, which is the area of the case that covers the microphone. And I hope that that might help with the wind noise problem. We will see. But yeah, so this is just a little piece for Wrenching on the Bench whenever that comes out. I hope everybody's okay and I'll catch you soon. So this is just a little segment to go in the next episode of Wrenching on the Bench. It also has relevance to the Lil Blue build, but these tyres here have just come in and I wanted to talk briefly about tyre choice. So prior to that, these are the WPL tyres that came out with the C54 body, the specialist ones. You can see they've got a really good grip, and these are some aftermarket metal rims. But if we squish those, you can see that they are a bit stiff. They're nice and soft, but they're, and the tread pattern is quite tight. It looks good, but I've been looking for something with a very crawler oil spec to it. Now, there's also not very much round the side of the tyre here. So I found these on Wish. And you can see that they have got a nice side on it. They are also beadlocks. So these nuts here come out, don't go all the way through, and they're beadlocks. Okay, but they are much softer. When you compress them, you can see we're going to get side bite. Also, they have got a nice chunky tread pattern. It's going to give us lots of grip, and if I find I need to take segments out, I can. But when we push down on top, you can see it's giving us that extra bit and the side bite. So these tyres will hopefully end up on Lil Blue, but just wanted to show that to you. Also, on Wish, so these are called R789S silver. Currently £13. I paid £11 for mine on Wish. Hope that's helpful to you. Right, there's a lot to fit in the screen, so the next two bits we're going to be talking about are about the FTX Ravine and about the FTX Mauler. Last time out with the Mauler, we had a problem with losing 3-wheel drive, so I have got some aftermarket replacement rear inner hubs. I don't know what the correct name for them are. Transfer gears, rear differentials, semi-locking differentials. So these, I also got some blue lithium grease to put in there, and I also got a new servo horn, which shouldn't be stripped out, to go in there. We're also going to talk about the body and see whether that body will go on the Mauler. We're looking at potentially going to trim the ravine and play with that a little bit, which is why I've got the body stuff there, and also for drilling the holes in that one. Anyway, we'll get down to it and deal with the individual segments. I'll strip the Mauler down first and we'll talk about that next. So before I start stripping it down, just a couple of quick things. These peg clips here are some that I was sent a while back. They are easy find, easy pull RC body clips from This Is Medway, Daniel Stephen. Those are those. What I'm going to do is, got the manual out here, looking at the rear axle. We need to take the ends off. We need to take the 2 screws out to pull those off. We need to take the C-clips off. Likewise on the other end, then we can pull the 4 out of there, but I'm going to drop the rear axle. We'll do the rear axle first and then we'll look at the front, because the rear axle is the one with the problem and it should be the easier of the two, and I'm going to look to do this to build my confidence. So the next thing you'll see is I will have pulled that off, and then once we've got it, this bit here is getting replaced with this new aftermarket one. Okay. Right, quick update through the stripping process. I've taken the body off because we're looking at the other body. I've changed the angle and hopefully this works okay for you. Using my trusty wheel nut, I've taken the wheels off, which I'm now using to support under there. Using a screwdriver, I've taken this off. I'm going to try and leave the rest attached, so I don't need to take the drive shaft off, and hopefully I should be able to take the rest out. Now I'm going to take off these off the ends. I've got one of these which has different colour, different size bits in, so I'll take these off the ends, then try and take the C-clips off. Take these 2 screws out either side here. Don't know how well you can see those. Probably see them better on this side. Take those out, take those off, and then take this out, which then I think that should then mean that I can take it out backwards. I'll update you. Right, so bit of a warning. These can be a bit of a devil to remove. I had to get the big pliers out, and the pins that sit in the back of these into here were slightly rusted. So that, and then obviously these come off the ends here, and then oh, look at how easy that was to come apart. So I think you can see there that cog in there, whereas the other side's locked. So I'm going to pull that out and replace with this new one. I'll show you how that is. So this is all the dirt that dropped out. I will clean the inside of this case. I will look at cleaning the bearing and make sure I put a little bit of grease around that when we reinstall it. So that's that side bearing. Same with that one. That's the other side bearing. That's there. This is the part that's come out. Okay. And this is the part that is going back in to replace it. So I just need to take the bearings off, press the bearings onto there so that it sits in the bearing seals to line everything up. Just apply a little bit of the blue onto there, and then that should get it right. See if they're sided. Just need to get that on. The other side slipped on nice and easily, so we'll just have to play with that a little bit. Not quite sure what I was worried about. That was relatively easy. So got this all installed, put a little bit of the blue grease there around the bearings, put some in here which will go in the top as this applies back into there. So the next stage we'll put that in, and then we put the two shorter screws into the bottom which will then hold that in place, and then we can look to start putting the outside back together. So that's what I'm going to crack on with now. So yeah, relatively easy. So that's all done, and then we'll move on to the end parts. Okay. Right, I've put this side back on. I have, I'll show you on this one, I haven't done this side yet. This just needs clean up. I put some of the blue grease on here and a little bit on the inside, slid that on, put these on. I advise not putting the top two screws on until last, because it means you can tilt this to make easier access so that you can get it all in properly, and also for getting the alignment, the pins, and where these slots are here, which go for the grub screws that run through these onto these flat spots on there. So you need to make sure you line those up when you put it on, which will be one of the next things that I'm doing on this side, and then I'll repeat on that side. Once that's all on, I'll put it all back together, and then we'll put the other tyres on. Well, that's the back end all together. That's my confidence builder. That was actually relatively easy. These are the tools I used. Bearing in mind, this one is a, let me see that, focus, 2mm hex for the grub screws. But yeah, they're the tools I needed. That's what I did. That's how I did it. Hopefully that's helpful. Now we'll move on to the front end. Yes, I have transferred and put the tyres that were intended for this on it, and they are a little bit smaller than the other ones, but that's okay. Right, moving on to the front. Just before we move on to the front of this Mauler, I'm just going to talk briefly about the tyres. So the ones that I'm putting on are the ones that were bought for this on the alloy blue Beadlocks. They're All-Star Hobby 22 MTs, super grippy, and they're internal beadlock. These are the ones that came with the Mauler, which I don't know whether you can see, whether I need to come, let's see how we can get down. You can see that they are quite a bit smaller, although they're both 2.2s. Okay, so yeah, these are going to go onto the ravine. These are going to go on this when I put it back together. Right, we've got two jobs to do on the front here. The first one is to replace the servo horn, because I believe that this one is stripped out inside. Well, you can see that. We'll have a look at that when that's out, once I've stripped this down. The second one is to replace the front, what's it called? This bit. Brain having a fade moment. Anyway, so going to do that. I won't go through quite as much detail unless there's anything different that comes out from that. I'm expecting that once I've pulled these off the ends, I can pull these top and that, which means that I won't need to take these links apart. But although they are fixed length links, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I can just drop one end off. If I need to do that, I may need to do that, but we'll see. Yeah, so strip that down, and I'll take the servo horn off, and I'll show you the inside of that in a second or two. Right, sorry that we've got, let's see if I can move this a little bit out here so you get a little bit of a better light on it. Okay, so this is the new one. You can see the teeth are all okay in that. This is the old one, and you can see that seems to be an issue with that. Now, the only concern I have is whether, not best film in the world here, Sharky. Maybe that's a better angle. Looks okay on there. So I'm hoping that it's just the servo horn. Just a quick thing, you don't need to take these 4 screws out before you take this off. If you put it on full lock, you can pull one side off and then you should be able to. Let's see if I can actually do it while I'm on camera. Did I take the screw? Yeah, I took both screws out. Yeah, there you go. Should come out both sides. So that's clear of that. There is a slot in there, so you're going to need to twist it to bring it on. Okay. There is on that side. It's just that side happened to be lined up in the right place to come out. So, right, that's those out. Now on to the rest of it. Well, the front is certainly more of a pain in the bum than the rear to do. You need to take the servo off of the servo plate with the 4 screws so that you can get to this screw in the back of here to take this out, which mounts into the top of here. You need to take all of this, take this screw off, which is the top suspension links, with a nut on one end and through, so that you can tip it forward so you can get to that screw on there. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the bum. Anyway, that's all done. Down to this stage, which will soon be replaced with this. So I will crack on with that now. Right, so everything cleaned up, installed, and done, ready to go in. So now I can put it all back together. So yes, fun and games. So that's the one I've taken out. That one should be okay, so I'm going to label that up and keep that as a spare. And then I've got these ones in the front and rear. So just a note on reassembly. Reassembly will be exactly the same as on the rear. Put the 2 screws in the bottom here first. Put that on. Then we're going to fit this bit behind there. Then put the servo back on. Or we might actually put the links back on and then put the servo back on as the last thing. So once this screw is in on the back of here, which then will clamp this in place because it's before and aft of the other half of the housing, and then put the servo in before moving on to the outside bits. Just a little tip, I've packed some grease into the ends here, just to protect it and waterproof it and cause so that there's no problems either side of the end of the dog bones. Focus, come on, focus. Yeah, so put some grease in there, all the top bits all together, and next bit is to fit these on, but I will put into the drive cups some grease while I'm at it. Okay, so almost there. I've got it all back together. Now I need to just power it up, which I have done. So you can see I can turn the lights on. So I need to centralise the servo horn using the servo trim. So that's in the middle. Okay. And then I can turn everything off. Back here. And fit this onto here. So there it is, all put back together. Turn on the controller. Turn on the rig. Now got all of that sorted. Yep, so it looks like it's all fixed. Now we'll have a quick look at the body. I'll have a look at the timing to see whether I've got time to do anything in this video with the ravine and cut the body on that, or whether I'll leave that for another one. Back to you in a second. So looks like I've got quite a bit of footage, so I'm going to call it at this point and put the ravine body cut on a different thing. What I will just temporarily do is sit this on here. I'm going to have to cut the bumper at the front, or look at a different bumper mount potentially, but it looks like it will fit on the back. If I take that bumper out, I can probably do a test photo of it, because, you know, I don't really want it to rub, but I can take this wheel arch out if I need to. I can sit it a little bit higher if I want to. Yeah, that looks like that might work for the Dodge Challenger body onto the Mauler. So let me know what you think, people. I don't mind if it sits a bit high. That's fine. I don't mind if it sits a bit back, actually. That might be a better position to sit it. So just behind those knuckles at the front there. Anyway, I'll take a photo and stick that in at the end here. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.